Yeah, I gotcha.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We know it is a big week, and we appreciate you being willing to spend some time with us. We're going to take as many questions as we can in the time that we have. And to kick us off, we're going to start with a question from Lee Spencer. Go ahead, Lee, with your question for William.
Thank you. And thanks, William, for joining us. I know
Yeah.
you're supposed to get in the sim a little bit later, but I'm just kind of curious. The drivers have no idea what to expect at the Coliseum. I get that. But from what we have been told, this is a heavier car. And with all the different feels that you have with this car, what is probably the most clearest thing that you can explain to us from the driver's seat, the difference in the feel?
Just from the last car.
Correct.
Yeah. I think just the steering. It's a rack and pinion, so kind of more like a super late model. The steering column or the steering box that we used to run is definitely a lot slower. So I feel like everything, as you go down the straightaways is slower, and you have more time to kind of move your hands. And I think honestly, the steering rack is, I think, an improvement. I really like it so far. It takes a little bit getting used to, like the first couple laps on the track every time that we go to a new track. But overall, I think it's definitely an improvement, something that, will kind of just make moves a little bit easier, especially on the speedway races, to kind of make moves around people. And honestly, the brakes are a little bit different. They stop a little bit better than the previous car, but not a whole lot different. And honestly, the cars from Phoenix is not that different feeling wise of how it drives versus the old car. So I'm pretty optimistic for how far it's come already.
Appreciate your time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. Our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Hey, William, obviously this weekend's event's a new event. We're seeing in the last couple of years more, short tracks or, close competition type of situations. The car's supposed to bring you guys closer together. Obviously, that could lead to more contact, conflict, and drama. How do you, as a driver, certainly you have your personal code and how you do things, but how has that been, I guess, forced to react in different ways, or how have you had to reassess that, if at all, in these types of situations that you guys are being put more and more into, and likely be put more and more into in the future, and having to face these situations?
Yeah, I think it's great for the sport to have more of these tracks. I mean, it's definitely, I think you leave these tracks feeling it's the most rewarding as a team and as a driver to do well, like at a place like Martinsville. Which I feel like this place is going to be kind of similar to. There is definitely a lot more conflict, I'd say. You kind of pick and choose your battles. This race isn't that long, so you're not going to have a lot of chances to kind of give and take. I think it's going to be a lot more take from most of the guys. But overall, I think it's good. You just kind of pick and choose your battles and what you think is important. And if you have the pace in the car and the speed to pass guys, then it's going to be a lot easier, than trying to defend. So, if you're defending, you're kind of, at the mercy of the guy behind you. But hopefully we're fast enough. We can kind of be the one making the moves and be the one kind of making the passes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Our next question will come from Matt Weaver. Go ahead, Matt.
Hi, William. Thanks for taking time today. My question is kind of similar to Dustin, but it's not been that long ago that you were doing bull ring style racing in your short track days. We've got a dirt track race now. How important is it, do you feel, if at all, to have that kind of racing be represented in the Cup Series again? Because it's been since 1971 since the Cup Series raced at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, I think it's important. I don't know. I think there's a lot of awesome tracks around the country that, the fairgrounds is, like people have talked about, places like Hickory. I mean, there's a lot of cool tracks that have a lot of character that I think, would be cool to see some of the series go to. But yeah, I think that background for me definitely helps, kind of gets you back to that mindset. You're not air blocking as much. You're kind of doing more so just trying to race your car against the other guys. You're not as worried about, aero and what that implication is for the guy behind you. So I think anytime that is less of a story and we're talking about, pure driving and just kind of, how to use the brakes and the throttle and around the track is good. So I think it's going to be great. I don't know how this track will race, but I think there's certainly a lot of good tracks out there we could be going to.
And one technical question, you mentioned the brakes and the tires. How is this big brake package and kind of a grippier tire going to change the dynamic of, real short track racing like at the LA Coliseum in Martinsville? Is it going to be the same short track racing that we've always known?
I think so. I mean, from what I saw at Phoenix, the car wasn't that different, than the previous car. I think the tire's a little bit gummier than what we had in the past, so I think that's a good thing. It seems to really be receptive to the track, and the brakes. Honestly, I thought they were going to be a lot more powerful than they are, but they're just a little bit different. I mean, maybe instead of braking at the 3 mark at Phoenix, you brake at the 2, so it's maybe 50 feet different, but it's not massive. So I think you're going to see similar racing than we've had in the past. It's just going to, everything's going to be a little bit quicker.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, our next question, we're going to go to Kelly Crandall. Go ahead, Kelly.
Thank you. Hey, William. So going to this race, to the Coliseum, there's so much is put into this. Is going to be entertaining. It's different. It's supposed to be fun. There's hype and packages about, well, don't be the leader going to turn 3 in the last lap. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with the fact that we're going here and everybody's expecting it to be wild and different and basically just if carnage happens, carnage happens? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fact that it's an exhibition race and, it opens up a lot of things to try. I mean, I definitely commend NASCAR for doing some of the things they're doing with the platform and the format and all that stuff. So I think it's great. I'd feel a little bit different about it if it was a points race, but I think it's great to have events like this when it's when it's really just about the fans and trying to put on a good race and hopefully and for pride for the teams to try to win. So we want to put our best foot forward. We want to win the race on Sunday because it sets the tone for the rest of the year. So that's important to us, but it definitely is a little bit different event because it's a non-points race. So I'm looking forward to it and kind of just don't really know what I have till I get there.
And the second thing I wanted to ask is going back to what you said a minute ago about it reminds you of Martinsville. You said that on Sirius a little bit ago too. What is it about what you're seeing, or I know you've been on iRacing running the Coliseum. What is it that is reminding you of Martinsville?
Yeah, I think just the shape of the track. I mean, Bowman Gray, when I raced there, is a little bit, it's a little bit rounder and the corners are a little bit maybe bigger than these corners. So I think the corners are a little bit tighter here, which kind of makes it like Martinsville because Martinsville, pretty long straightaways and pretty tight corners. So I think you're going to see a lot of the same things as Martinsville. That's kind of my idea. But we'll have to see when we get there of what it really races like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next question come from Jeff Gluck. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, William. I'm doing a story on Jeff Gordon and, his new role. And I know he's obviously been there quite a lot, even when he was working for Fox, but as he's been more involved in the team over the last couple of years, how has your relationship with him changed personally?
Yeah, I think Jeff and he's probably the closest. I'm the closest to him out of any of the drivers that used to race. So I think that, he's been a big asset for me and all the guys. And I feel like, he's been close to the team, but I think over the last year and a half, he's gotten really close with all of us. And I probably talk to him once a week or once every couple of weeks about things. And his advice is definitely valuable. So big fan of him being on board with us full time. And, I see him around the shop more than I did probably when he was working with Fox. So that's cool. And I think it's going to be a good thing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our next question. will come from Jack Smith. Go ahead, Jack.
Thank you, Will. Obviously, I know that you grew up as like an avid racing and NASCAR fan, but for us on the West Coast, that normally isn't the story. What do you have to say to prospective fans on this side of the country? You know, why should they buy into or follow NASCAR?
I think that it's a ultra competitive sport. I mean, you only have, you have 36, 40 guys out there and you only have one guy that wins. So I think it's very competitive. Your probability of winning is kind of low, but I think that it really kind of is just something that people can cling to. The fact that, it's somewhat relatable, and I don't know, it's just exciting when you go to a race for the first time and you hear the cars and understand what it's about. It's a lot different than TV. So I think having a chance to get people out to the track and kind of understand what it's like really kind of shows the sense of speed and danger maybe that we're all doing.
And to that, what do you have to say about NASCAR's move to do the Clash this year at the Coliseum in order to try and draw up some more fans on the West Coast?
I think it's great. It seems to be hard to kind of get people out to Auto Club sometimes. So I think it's great to have it closer to the cities. And I'm all for doing more races around the cities. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I think we see it with F1 a little bit and some of the different series. So excited for that. And I think it's going to put on a great show.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Our next question will come from Tracy Ellis. Go ahead, Tracy.
Hi, William. Thanks for taking time today. Just simple. What are you looking forward to the most coming from this weekend?
Looking forward to just being out in a different environment. Looking forward to how cool it's going to look with that place, filled up with fans. I've never raced in an atmosphere like that. I think the closest thing is Bristol, and that's awesome, an awesome environment when you pull off pit road for the race. So I think it's going to be a really cool adrenaline rush, kind of seeing how that plays out and seeing how it is before the race.
Thanks. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a question from Marty. Go ahead, Marty.
Thanks, Amanda. William, thanks for the time. I want to ask, going back to the sim and iRacing side of things, your eNASCAR Coke driver, Nick Ottinger, finished 5th last night, had a couple of race sessions. Has he told you anything about the track? Have you had discussions with him on that?
Yeah, we text quite a bit. So yeah, I'm kind of pick his brain a little bit from what I can learn from him and the iRacing side. So I get a chance to go to the Chevrolet Sim after this and kind of run the Coliseum for the first time. So excited for that. Hopefully I can learn some things that can apply when we get there.
One more for me. I know the hauler's already left for LA. I know you haven't left yet. You're still in your apartment. Is the team planning on doing something for fun this weekend while in LA before practice?
I don't know about fun. I mean, I think they've got their hands full, but yeah, maybe I'll go have some fun before the weekend, but I get out there on Friday. So I think there'll be plenty of fun at the racetrack.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for the time. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
All right, William, a quick question related to iRacing before we have to let you go today. Were you with the iRacing events that they had in the development of the LA Coliseum and before it was announced, did you participate in any of those? And did you give any feedback to NASCAR about the track development?
Yeah, definitely. They came to me back in, I think, August, September, to ask me about the track and what I thought. So I got a chance to run a few laps on it and kind of get a feel for it. So definitely a cool track. Feel like it's, got a lot of potential and pretty cool to see it all come together through iRacing. So that's pretty neat, and hopefully it turns out good for the fans.
All right. Well, William, we really appreciate your time. We know you have a busy schedule, so we don't want to keep you too long, but we appreciate you spending some time with us, and we look forward to wishing you good luck this weekend at the Clash.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. And to